And we are live.
Welcome back to Checkpoint, brought to you by Strictly Casual, your number one show rounding up all the hottest gaming news stories of the week and discussing all the relevant topics you need to know about. I'm one of your hosts, James Walmer, with my new do, baby. New do for New York. But let's bring the camera away from me, okay? I'm here with one of the best co-hosts in the industry, Ryder Maldonado.
Wow.
Ryder, how you doing today? What is your the spiciest tamale in the gaming industry?
The
got
little
the spiciest meatball, Vincent DeSantis, and we got the spiciest tamale, Ryder Maldonado.
the little chicken enchilada, like being wrapped up in a blanket and just ready to
That's you, chicken enchilada, baby.
Yeah, I'm doing great, dude. Thanks for having me up. I appreciate it. I mean, audio listeners, I will say, you guys need to hop on over to YouTube and check out the video because James is looking extra fresh with the new do. You're missing out.
Hey, they'll see me on the clip.
They'll see.
Hey,
Yeah,
head over to the clip.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm doing well. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Rest in peace to Vincent. He didn't die, but this is his first ever Checkpoint episode that he has missed on his 126 episode long streak. We absolutely hate to see it. Vincent, our hearts go out to you. Shout out to our audio listeners. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/strictlycasual. Please hit us with a rating on audio platforms and subscribe. It helps us out a lot. What else is going on the channel? We got Gamescom clips. That was this week. That was Tuesday. We put up so much content for it. What do we got? We got Sonic Frontiers gameplay reaction, Dead Island 2. We got Gotham Knights. We got Atlas Fallen, new games. We got Destiny 2 Lightfall trailer, open world Doom game. Ryder, what was your favorite trailer that we reacted to on the channel?
I will say there were some that there was this one, I think it was called Stranded, that I'm really anticipating. It looked like a base builder. I remember when we were watching, you guys were like, "Oh, Ryder, this is for you," because it looked like a space game, stranded on a planet. It looked like you can kind of survive, build your little base. But there was a lot of other fun stuff. Callisto Protocol seems very exciting. I know that's much sooner than some of the farther announcements, so definitely anticipating that. But yeah, it was a fun day. Lots of silly times we had. You guys can check out the videos. A lot of jokes. It was a good time.
A lot of jokes, a lot of laughs.
What are you looking forward to?
Oh man, I think I'm really interested to see what Atlas Fallen is going to be like, but I keep going back to Destiny 2. I don't know what it is about this game. Here's the thing. Every time they release something cool, Vincent hypes it up. He's like, "James, this is the one you got to join us for."
Yes.
And I get all hyped and I'm like, "Okay, this is the one." And then I turn on the game, I download it, I turn on the game, the massive 80 gigabyte download.
Yeah.
And I get in the game and I'm like, "Oh, this is a lot." I just get super overwhelmed. There's 20,000 notifications that the game hits me with. I need to go around and talk to 17 different people, pick up all these quests, and I have this long ass quest log.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know where to start. It's telling me to start here, but I'm not high enough level. I need to go and do all these things first that I haven't done from previous DLCs that somehow made its way into this one. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, it's a lot. It's a live service. It's a live service game, so naturally it's a lot, and it wants to really be. And I've said this a lot on the show. It wants to be the only game you play, and I am just not ready for that kind of commitment yet. Okay, I'm young. I'm a young buck in my 20s, and I'm not ready to settle down like that.
Yeah, you tell. I'm sorry, Destiny. It's not you. It's me. I'm sorry. I can't.
It's not you. It's me.
I totally know what you mean.
Ryder, how are you doing? What are you playing?
Doing great. Lately I've been playing, I've been enjoying the PS5. I'm enjoying the space it has. I had Red Dead 2 downloaded for a long time, and I couldn't download a lot of other games, so I made the hard decision. I deleted that, and I downloaded 4 or 5 more games now. So getting through Detroit Become Human one last time, and then I'm gonna delete it forever, and then enjoy kind of some newer stuff, and open up space for games like Gotham Knights, Callisto Protocol, like we were talking about, and maybe Saints Row. Maybe we'll see, but
dude,
I don't know.
We're gonna be talking about that in a minute.
Oh yeah, true. What are you playing? What have you been doing?
This week I have played absolutely nothing. I beat Metroid Dread last week.
Nice.
Maybe that was earlier this week, but I beat Metroid Dread. Great ending, really, really great game. Ryder, if you want an excuse to pick up your Switch, get Metroid Dread.
Nice.
I think it's I don't know how familiar you are with Metroidvania type games, like things like Hollow Knight, things like,
A little bit, yeah.
Castlevania, as the name would imply. Okay. I really enjoy them. One of my favorite genres for sure, even though there is some frustrating game design
Hmm.
that I've experienced with them. But I beat that. Great ending. And I jumped into, I have nothing on my Switch. I jumped into Animal Crossing for a little bit. I played the
Oh,
Kirby demo,
oh.
because the Kirby Forgotten Land, and because I just had it on
Hmm.
my Switch and I just had never touched it. So I said, fuck it. Like, I'm not playing anything else. I don't have my console, so I'll just jump into this real quick. And I play like 10 minutes, and it's so easy. Like, it's a cute game, it's fun, but it's just way too easy. It's a cakewalk. Every enemy dies in like one hit. Um, but like, it was fun, and it was quirky, and it was charming. But I'm like, this is just, and I was on hard mode.
Hmm.
Or the harder mode out of the two. I
Hmm.
wasn't on the easy mode, so I was like, I can't do this.
Oh yeah, yeah, I feel that. Well, that's cool. That's
That's
fun
it.
stuff.
Yep.
Um, all right, you want to get
Let's
into
jump.
first
Yeah,
first
let's
story?
jump right into it. Speaking of Saints Row, we got a review roundup for you. We got the review embargo. Did it release yet, Ryder, or is this just review embargo going up?
No, I think yeah, it released already about a couple days ago when we were talking about it, right? There was a lot of
Right.
reviews coming out from like Kind of Funny and some other like Game Informer and
Mm-hmm.
not Game Informer, my bad, Gamer Angst and stuff like that. So I think embargo lifted. Yeah,
Okay, embargo lifted,
it's
and
time.
I think it's released. Yeah, it's
Yeah, the
time.
game's released. Yep.
All right, so we got Game Informer gave it an 8.5, IGN gave it a 6, GameSpot gave it a 6, Video Games 24/7 gave it a 3 out of 5, Hardcore Gamer gave it a 3 out of 5, Kind of Funny 2 out of 5, Video Games Chronicle 2 out of 5, and Ryder, take this last one.
I believe Video Games Chronicle, another probably reporter,
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Midler, gives it a 4 out of 10. Says our overwhelming takeaway after finishing Saints Row was how badly the open world genre needs Grand Theft Auto 6. That's a wild statement. How the genre is so past the point of relevance that it needs the flag bearer for the open world action game to once again provide the roadmap forward. Wow, that's I gotta say that's a lot of expectations for already Grand Theft Auto. I mean, we've experienced this before with Cyberpunk, kind of like a game that will save all, you know. And I mean, the hype for Grand Theft Auto 6 is already so beyond anything.
So, yeah, I agree with you that Grand Theft Auto 6 has wildly huge expectations, even like regardless of, well, I think, yeah, that's a very big pedestal to put it on, and I think
Mhm.
Grand Theft Auto is rightfully on that pedestal in many ways as sort of like an epitome of open world game design, like,
Mhm.
and detail game design. Like, Rockstar absolutely crushes building big open worlds with a lot to do in them.
Yeah, we've seen them
Um,
succeed twice now, and I think that they could play
right.
safe. Well, not safe, but they know what they're doing when it comes to decisions to not maybe be as crazy because they could say this is a lot of work for us. Maybe we don't have that much time. Like we succeeded with
Well, I
GTA
want
5 and Red Dead.
to,
Right?
yeah, but the issue with GTA 6 right now that I have trouble
Hmm.
giving this platform to Grand
Hmm.
Theft Auto 6 in this moment is Grand Theft Auto 6's development team is not what it used to be. It's not the same team that made Grand Theft Auto 5. They've had one of the co-leads leave. They've had people leave. Like, they've gone for
Ooh.
cash grabs. Like, remember the
Hmm.
Grand Theft Auto collection? I forgot the name of
Oh yeah.
the collection, but of like
Hmm.
Vice City and Grand Theft Auto 3. Like, those games like did not turn out well. Like, the
Ooh.
remaster or the re-releases of those titles were super broken, super buggy, didn't do a ton to rework the games. So I don't know. I have trouble putting Grand Theft Auto on that 6. But in talking about Saints Row, get back to Saints Row. It's got an
Hmm.
open critic of 65 and a Metacritic of only 67. 67 is actually a little higher than what
Yeah,
I expected
me too.
for this game. But it's just a dated game. Like, everyone I
Yeah.
have heard is like it's boring. Like, the game design is just so outdated. Like, it's not fun anymore. It's what used to feel like this open exploration thing. It's just so silly and so um I don't know, just dead. It's kind of soulless. I
Yeah.
feel like I've heard
Hmm.
a lot of people say that it's just not good. Technically, it's has a lot of game-breaking bugs, a lot of
Ooh.
T-posing NPCs.
Oh no, not the T
It's
pose.
just not it's just not polished.
Yeah.
Even though the game play design is flawed itself, like, it's not just that. It's also it's latent with technical issues too.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think we've seen it. We've seen a lot like with Assassin's Creed, kind of the same, just spam random side missions here and there. So that sort of thing.
Mhm.
It's the formula for me is kind of like, yeah, it's simple. I don't expect much from it. So that's why I was so in the beginning like, hey, maybe I'll check it out. Maybe I'll get it despite the negativity, because like that's all I ever expect from something like this. Like I wouldn't expect them to go wild unless an exception is like Red Dead 2, where it seems like that is a more lived in game, right? And that's something that's like the
Yep.
exception. But yeah, I mean, hey, it's better than what I thought it would be. So
Mhm.
I can't expect anything else.
Yeah. I mean, from some of these, it's worse than I thought initially. Like
Okay.
like kind of funny giving it a 2
Oh,
out of 5. That's
yeah.
bad. That's bad.
Yeah, I
But
listened to that.
I mean,
Blessing and I think Janet, right?
oh, you did.
They didn't have fun with it at all. They were like, this is not
Wow.
fun. They had to like stop it and start. They said that I was like, I started a
Wow.
different one because I did not have fun with it. I was like, oh no.
Wow.
Yeah, wild stuff.
That stuff.
Okay, if we want to
Ryder,
move on now,
on
we
to
got
next, yeah.
this is exciting. Bungie is launching on the Epic Games Store. We heard this announcement during kind of the Destiny 2 announcement day, as well as Gamescom the same day. Bungie is launching Destiny 2 on the Epic's Game Store. As of today, it's already been a day. It's out now. You can check out the DLCs are free, right? And they also have, I think the 30th anniversary pack is free for you to get for the week.
Well,
So definitely check that out.
Cool.
If you want to hop in, now's the time. The announcement was made during the afternoon's Destiny 2 showcase, which gave an in-depth look at the new season, as well as further details on the Ultimate Premium expansion, the final conclusion, Lightfall. And the collaboration between Bungie and Epic. We'll also see Destiny cosmetics appear in games like Fortnite and Fall Guys, so that's kind of fun.
mhm.
I like the collaboration there. We saw Fortnite, some clips on Twitter where we were sending each other like they're getting wild with it. Like the battle bus is now in Destiny, and then
Yeah.
like loot
Well,
caves.
it's just like a nod. Like it's a reskin of some of the buses in the environment are just made to look like the battle bus.
Okay, cool. Bungie also announced that it will no longer be sunsetting premium DLC from today. Historically, the developer has removed paid content from the game after a period of time. Justin Truman, the general manager of Destiny 2, says, "We want the Destiny universe to grow, and we're going to continue to do everything we can behind the scenes to keep that possible within our game engine." Which I respect, because I don't know if you've looked. I have a lot of games on my Xbox storage, and that is the
Yeah.
biggest game still. I think like
Destiny
115.
2, yeah.
It's crazy, but I respect them for keeping all that content, but I don't know how it
I
handles
mean, it's
it.
gonna get even bigger.
Yeah.
It's gonna get even bigger. And I really have trouble trying to figure out how they're going to do that in a way that respects players' hard drives.
Mhm.
Um, in
Yeah.
addition to keeping all the content within the game. And I read an opinion article on Polygon um about live service games not giving enough credit or respecting the players who have been long term invested in
Mhm.
their games. And Destiny was one of them. And he talked about sunsetting equipment and
Yeah.
sunsetting content, and how it doesn't really respect people who have been there from the jump. People have been
Mhm.
there for the longest period of time. And um, I'm even even though they're saying this is a good direction for them to say we're not going to be sunsetting DLC, we're not going to be sunsetting armor, weapons, equipment like they've said before. It's not an indicator that they can't do it again
Yeah.
for whatever reason. Maybe they can still go back and say, "Hey, this storage is getting too big.
Minimize stuff,
We're
right?
gonna
Take out.
offload
Yeah.
some of the content."
Mhm.
So it's like, how do you maintain that balance?
Yeah.
And is that still possible in the current build of the game?
Mhm.
I mean, I've been long time saying like, "Okay, let's just get Destiny 3 over here. Destiny 2 is so old. I know
Mhm.
they updated the engine. I know they, did all this stuff to bring it up to date, but I still can't help but think we just need
A third
oh
game,
my
right?
god.
Oh,
I think we just need a new overhaul.
yeah.
Um
I
and I think we just need a blank slate.
Absolutely. I was watching the stream. I watched the whole stream, and it was crazy because they said Destiny 2 is not going anywhere for a long time, even after Lightfall, that they want to continue
Mhm.
on for years. So I imagine it's kind of like a GTA 5 where they keep adding more like maybe smaller DLCs, smaller packs for content every once in a while. But yeah, it is wild when it's like you're still in the second game. I get it, but a third game, kind of a refresh, or maybe after this is coming sooner rather than later. We'll see. Maybe that is the
Mhm.
plan, and they're just kind of throwing it off trying to throw us off. But
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me to say. I don't think they have
No, yeah,
a
no
lot of
plans.
concrete plans for Destiny 3.
Mhm.
Maybe they do. Who
No,
knows?
yeah.
But I am hopeful for the future of this game, especially with Lightfall.
Yeah.
They got a lot of content planned. I'm really curious to see how they're going to manage it. But in regards to it launching on the Epic Game Store, this is great. Getting new players,
Mhm.
um, a lot of more content to them. That it should be noted that they're making it so that Lightfall is still paid, but just all the previous expansions are free. But
Yeah.
Lightfall is you're still gonna have to pay for.
Yeah, I think it's like
Just to be
40 or
clear, because
50. What's out there?
I
Maybe
don't
30?
know how much is.
Let's see. Because
Google search
you
that.
can pre-order
How
right
much?
now.
Yeah.
Let's
How
see.
much is
Lightfall
Lightfall?
DLC Destiny 2.
Shut the fuck
Let's
up.
see.
Lightfall price,
I
which
want to say okay,
includes.
$49. Yeah, so that's I think
God, that's
that's
so
without the game.
steep.
I think it's
Okay,
more with the game. Maybe.
um, the Witch Queen season expansion. Okay, so Lightfall, it's $100 with the season pass bundle.
Oh yeah, with the 4. I think that's 4, which should be for the whole year. That'll be like all 2023, which is crazy.
That's in like that
It's
is
wild.
that is too expensive.
You
In
got to
my
play that
opinion.
whole time if you're gonna buy that.
You gotta play that whole time, and that's so expensive because you could buy when there are games that are $70 now, which even
Mhm.
is like, I mean,
Kind of
it's
wild. Yeah.
justifiable for current industry and
Yeah.
economy and stuff like that. But this is a yearly thing. It's Witch Queen with the season pass was $80. You're buying essentially a new game every time.
Yeah.
And to go back to like what I was talking about earlier, I think it's just a lot to ask when you aren't updating these core systems of the
Mm.
game
Yeah.
and you have issues with sunsetting and respecting players who do put their time, and it's hard to ask. It's a big ask
hmm There are a lot of things that we'll
from
say
players.
for that they want to overhaul, like for new players. Like when you hop in, it's kind of like, where do I start? Kind of the problem you had is like, I'm overwhelmed. Where do I start? They're gonna have a new chapter system where it's like you can do one little mission on each planet to kind of give you what's like a nightfall, I believe they call it. What's a strike? What's multiplayer? What's this? It's kind of like a story system in that. So I'm kind of excited for that. It seems like it'll be more organized for you, not just kind of
See, I think,
thrown.
but Destiny puts in a lot of effort towards their new players, and I think that like shifts their focus and leaves
Mm.
the old players in the dust,
Okay. Yeah.
especially with things like, because this is what was the issue with sunsetting weapons
hmm
for Destiny before they restored. They took sunsetting the weapons out,
hmm
but a lot of these players who had like old weapons that like they worked really hard to get, they sunset them and say, oh, this isn't gonna work. It doesn't respect the time that they put in,
hmm
right? So it's catering to new players, like, hey, you still have a chance to jump in, but the guys in the back who have been playing for years are like, okay, what the hell? I worked so hard
yeah.
to get this armor, to get this weapon, and you're saying it's not viable anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like maintaining that balance that is really, really crucial.
Yeah. And probably tough to do too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really tough to do.
Um.
All right.
Right here. You got
Is
it.
there anything we need to go over in terms of logistics before we get into the clip?
No, we're good. It's already rolling, and yeah, we'll get it after.
Cool.
Whenever you're ready.
Sweet. Next up, Sony is raising the price of the PlayStation 5. This comes from Polygon, among many other sources on the web. Jim Ryan said today, Thursday, in a blog post that the company will increase the retail price of the PlayStation 5 in Canada, Mexico, Europe, the UK, Australia, Japan, and China, but not in the United States. In a blog post, Sony blog post, by the way, that's what's the blog post. Ryan said that the culprit is challenging economic conditions, citing high global inflation and adverse currency trends. For example, the European euro, their currency, has dropped to $1. Ryan still hopes to meet product demand despite these price hikes. But the whole list of prices are available on the PlayStation blog if you'd like to look at them. But to name a few, in Europe, both models get €50 increases, and in the UK, both models get £30 price increases. Ryder, what is your initial reaction to this?
I mean, it's tough because on the one hand, you got to understand from the company on why they're doing it, right? I think they were like, the economy is in a wild place, post COVID, even still now trying to recuperate and trying to get that money back. But also, I think about the consumer and how there are so many people that are still struggling to get the next generation of the hardware, right? There's a lot of we just reacted to Gamescom, right, announcing new games and we're talking about new services coming to PlayStation that a lot of people still can't enjoy, and even more so now because of the price increase that it's already tough to do the $500 and the $400 version. So I understand that, yes, you have to get that money back, but like, where's the line? Like, I saw somebody post, it'd be wild if like Xbox comes out and like drops, hey, we're lowering the price for Xbox, but but I still think PlayStation, it's wild, and I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I saw a tweet the other day and it said, like, from someone who had been fighting to get a PlayStation 5 and they just got one now after fighting for like 2 years to try and get one. Like, they're still having trouble meeting demand, and this is just an even higher barrier of entry for people who might not have already were like struggling to get the means, who are gamers, but maybe they're gaming on a budget and they just really want to make that jump to the next gen. And now that it's just that much harder to get their hands on a console. But what I'm really curious, and I'm not an economist, so I don't know that this specifically works for the US, but I'm really curious to see why why the retail price is jumping in Canada, Mexico, Europe, etc., but not the United States. In
Yeah.
the United States, it's not getting a price increase. I wonder if does that have anything to do with demand in the United States? Maybe
Accessibility, right?
maybe Sony, right? Maybe accessibility. Maybe Sony has been better about reaching demand in the US, so they don't feel the need to increase the
Yeah.
price. But even then, that seems counterintuitive. Why would you increase the price in places that have harder time keeping
Yeah.
up with demand?
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I'm just not sure. I'm curious if this is really necessary. I know that if we put this in the context of the sales of the PlayStation 5 has been being sold at a loss because the hardware is just that expensive, especially with the chip shortage and things like that, and paying extra money to get things shipped overseas and things like that, especially because of, even supply chain issues with COVID. It's a lot. And um, they were selling it at a loss, and then it became profitable shortly after release. And so, is this just to keep it within that margin of at a loss enough to where they can justify making it, and it'll offset the cost by by volume of sales? I'm just not sure.
Yeah. No.
I'm just
Yeah.
not
I'm
sure
with
if
you.
this
Yeah.
is going to make that much of a difference for them, especially because I think, I don't know, I think the chip shortage is starting to ease up, starting to be a little bit easier on tech companies. So I'm just not sure. I would love to know what you guys think in the comments.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yeah, well, there you
Ryder,
have it.
what else?
Yeah, though that's it for me. It's a lot of business stuff, so I'm sure
Okay.
it's hard to get into. We talk about the technology and we talk about how the economy is changing with the money in different countries, but I'm sure we'll keep up with it and we'll see kind of what's the update, because usually prices drop, so maybe it changes soon. But either way, that's it for us. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and if you're checking out this clip, you can check out the entire podcast on YouTube if you become a member. Also, you can listen to the podcast for free on audio platforms that'll be linked down below. But stay tuned for more coverage on this and more on the channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Cool.
That's a hard one. It's hard to get into that because it's a lot of stuff as to why, right? I was struggling a little bit. I was like, oh, that's tough. I don't know. I'm like, oh.
I know. I thought about this. I was like, oh, maybe I should have picked a different clip in which you were more felt more comfortable.
Oh, no, it's okay. No. I mean, yeah, I don't. I mean, I love talking about it. I think it's very important. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people care about it. Like it's. I was like, man, I struggled just to get the PS5, so I wonder how a lot of other people are feeling about it. So it's definitely a huge thing that should be talked about. The underdog thing. Okay, moving on here. We have Phil Spencer from Xbox see some progress coming toward an Activision deal. There's a lot of good stuff. I'm sure you guys know a lot more about this because y'all are keeping up with it. From my initial surface level knowledge of this, I still know that this is kind of a step in the right direction. So I'll get into the first kind of paragraph here, and then you got some of the next ones, and we'll talk about it. Okay, here we go. Phil Spencer, the CEO, of course, of gaming at Xbox, said he's encouraged by the progress made in discussions with regulators examining the software giant's almost $70 billion acquisition of Activision. He says, I've never done a $70 billion deal, so I don't know what my confidence means, Spencer says. I will say the discussions we've been having seem positive. This, of course, comes from Bloomberg.
In regards to unions, with some Activision employees forming a union, Microsoft said in June that it will work with labor groups when presented with a specific union proposal. Spencer noted that he's never had that experience before, but thought it important to make such a statement. Quote, I've never run an organization that has unions in it, but what I can say in working through this is we recognize workers' needs to feel safe and heard and compensated fairly in order to do great work. We definitely see a need to support the workers and the outcomes they want to have, unquote. So
Good.
in regards to, I've been like on the channel kind of the most outspoken like advocate of worker unions, and I think this is a really good step in the right direction. I would like I am the type to want these workers to unionize because it gives them more power in that space. It gives them more of a voice. It gives them more autonomy, so that if they need to, if they have bad working conditions, if they're like abused or anything like that, they have another support system outside of the company that can come in and advocate for them on their behalf. And sometimes you see things like union fees and like we belong to a union, so like a portion of your paycheck can go to your union workers or to your union organization. But in my opinion, it's worth the offset in order just to give yourself more power in that space, especially in a creative industry in which what you're doing is art.
Yeah.
And so that's really important to me. But I also think it's really good to see a CEO saying, or sorry, chief executive officer, CEO. Sorry, I was just making sure I got that right. CEO saying like, yeah, we need to put our workers first. We need to allow them to feel safe and heard and compensated fairly. And I hope this just isn't good PR from Phil Spencer. Normally he seems to back up his statements pretty well. So I hope this is really promising, and I hope they're able to work out agreements, and I hope Phil Spencer forms actually a good relationship with these labor unions that are becoming more and more prominent through the labor industry. To remind the listeners, this is so Activision employees forming a union that's mainly in Raven quality assurance testers unionizing, but I don't know if there's others in addition to that, but that's what I think of when I hear about Activision employees forming a union.
Interesting. Yeah, I was just about to say about Phil Spencer. Like it happened back when what was the walkout or the strikes that were going on. That's when we
with Bobby Kotick.
Yeah, that's when he first started talking about it. So being vocal about this stuff, we've seen him talk about a lot. So that's kind of cool. But game exclusivity now, we can get into that. He also talks. He pledged to make Call of Duty available for the rival Sony PlayStation, at least for some period of time. Said the idea of games made exclusively for one device is something we're just going to see less and less of. Maybe it happen in your household to buy an Xbox and I buy a PlayStation, and our kids want to play together. They play together and they can't because we bought the wrong piece of plastic to plug into our TV. He also goes on about we really love to be able to bring more players in, reducing friction, making people feel safe and secure when they're playing, allowing them to find their friends, play with their friends regardless of what device. And he also goes into talking about like technology on how, computers now and TVs are able to do, xCloud, right? The cloud and all that stuff. So it's wild how times are changing, right? We used to see it all the time, Xbox versus PlayStation and console versus PC. And now it's like the big heads of these companies are like, no, we're done with that. Like you see Phil Spencer always complimenting, Naughty Dog and PlayStation and their exclusives. And it's great. I think it's a step in the right direction because cross-gen is the best thing that's happened to gaming, because I can't tell you how many times I want to enjoy a game on my PlayStation, but I tell my cousins to get it. You know, they were like, they're older, so they're like, no, I'm stuck to my Xbox, but we can still enjoy it. So I think it's, yeah, make everything accessible. Don't limit when it comes to video games and kind of what you can do. Limiting is not, we don't need the limits in this day and age, but
yeah,
cool.
I think it comes from a lot of, sorry, did I cut you off?
No, really good.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This comes from I've heard it said before, saying like, oh well, in order for, like, if the PlayStation is going to be as good as the PlayStation is going to be and the Xbox is going to be as good as the Xbox is going to be, like they need to have, like they need to corner their respective markets, and they
Mm-hmm.
need to have exclusivity. They need to have consumers fight over, which to get, because then it's a sense of competition
It
that'll
keeps it
make
up. Yeah.
that, it
And
keeps
better.
it up. It'll keep them better. But I
Mm-hmm.
think, like, I honestly don't know how true that is, and that this gets into a much bigger conversation about, like, does competition, you know um breed innovation, or whatever the saying is. um
Yeah.
but it's or but I think it's this is the best way to get the most money to developers who are making the games we enjoy.
Yeah.
For the
Yeah.
best way to support developers, if we want Naughty Dog, right? If we want um, Sony Santa Monica
Mm.
to have the most resources to make the biggest and best games that we love the most, then doesn't it only make sense to allow them enough, as much revenue as possible to support them?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they have money that they get from Sony, but in terms in terms of sales, right? That you're only going to increase sales by bringing your games to more platforms.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um,
And
and it's a bigger sense of community because you have more people experiencing the same games, the same stories.
no, yeah, absolutely. I was gonna say it's funny because besides like video games, right? We're starting to slowly see it. Maybe that competition is becoming a little too less because let's say like for example like an Uncharted or the God of War is exclusive to PlayStation. Besides a video game, I mean you can play it on the cloud. It doesn't matter what technology you have now. It's almost getting to that time where you can have a PlayStation controller connected to your PC and vice versa. Well, not really vice versa, but you know what I mean. Like the technology is slowly becoming so blended that these two companies are becoming so monopolized where they're buying like Xbox just acquired this company and PlayStation acquired this company.
Sure.
Like there's only two, and if they start blending into like, hey, let's kind of go together with it's besides the video games, it's almost like okay, well, what's the incentive to buy your device or your device? It's kind of like there's not. I guess
Yeah,
that's the direction.
I think it's so with that being said, it might be worth talking about, like, different experiences per console, right? If
Yeah.
what type of console is this? Whether you're a Game Pass
Hmm.
player, right, and you like playing a lot of different games, and you have your mainstay like multiplayer games that are cross-platform, right? But you also have like a lot of first-party games, a lot of indie games. Maybe that's Xbox's thing, right? Is they're the
Hmm.
Game Pass machine. They want you to be able to jump into all these different games and have a lot of player freedom. But Sony, as we know, like we talked about this earlier on the show way back when, but it's like kind of like the art house console,
Hmm.
in which you have like a lot of single player like experiences, a lot of stories, and it's not as much the party console as it is like this is my it's almost in a certain way like a niche, even though it has more sales than the Xbox Series X. It's technically more mainstream, but
Hmm.
there is a sense of like I want to play my story games, I want to play my Uncharted's,
Yeah.
I want to play my God of Wars, things like that.
Hmm.
I don't know, it just might be a different preference.
Yeah.
Maybe you
True.
just like the controller better.
Yeah.
Maybe you like the dual sense. Maybe you like the interface better. I think it just comes down to like personal preference. And I think the more we can bridge the gap between PlayStation, like I remember when I was in middle school, I from Xbox 360 to PlayStation 4
Hmm.
because the hardware was better. Um,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I like severed like a lot of connections with friends. Like it was a whole
No. Yeah. I know
so
that.
middle
Uh-huh.
schoolers are like, oh man, you're leaving us behind. Like, what are you doing? And
PlayStation,
I was like,
no.
no, I feel like I gotta get the PlayStation. Like it's the better console,
Hmm.
and um
Dude,
That was just my preference, and
I was
so, like, I think the less of that happens, the
mhm.
less that we have to kind of, like, draw these lines of division between our player bases,
Yeah.
the better.
Mhm. I was one of those kids where I saw. Do you remember? It was an E3 show, and they were announcing the Connect, and it was that little girl with the pet, and she was like hanging around with her little
Mhm.
pet and petting it. That blew my mind, dude. I'll never forget that. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
oh my gosh, I'm gonna get the. Because I remember I was like off the high of the Wii, right? Everybody had the Wii, and we were all playing it.
Everyone had the Wii.
It had the thin plastic sensor and those two things. So when they were like, "Yo, we're doing that, but you don't have to have the remotes," I was like, "This is the
Right.
future." I really thought I was like, "This
That's
is
what
it.
everyone thought.
This is the future." And
Mhm.
then they were like, "You can plug in your cable to it. You can run your TV off it." And I'm like, "Wow, that lasted all of like 1 month probably for me." And then I was like, "I don't even watch TV," so it
Yeah.
became obsolete.
Yeah.
But I respect them because they were trying to. Like, I think they called it the Xbox One because it was like an all-in-one device, right, for TV and
Yeah.
gaming and stuff. So how funny how times
Mhm.
change. It's like live services are the thing now, right?
Right.
Yeah. All right, moving on now. We have Everywhere, a new multi-world game from GTA producer Leslie Benzies. Gamescom 2022 opened up with the reveal of Everywhere, a new game that we react to. You guys can check out the full show for our
Mhm.
reaction on that. Grand Theft Auto producer Leslie Benzies is working on this. We want the community to build this. We want it to be their world. We want them to tell their stories in our game. Benzies said before sharing a trailer that seemed to show off two very different games. Yeah, we were like, is this the metaverse, right? This was like, it's everywhere, everything all at once. Kind of went into that.
That's right.
You
Yes,
made that
that
good
that was
joke.
that game.
At
Yeah.
first, we see an experience that looks similar to Fortnite. There are multiple characters shooting, jumping, driving across different biomes. Obvious metaverse-like social component built into gameplay. Just a lot of wild stuff. I don't know if you want to finish the article, get into your thoughts. I mean, what does this mean for us? No.
Yeah. I am the initial thought, because it looks very metaversey, is, does this have NFTs? Because
Yeah.
like NFTs play a big role in the multiverse, or at least the
Yeah.
multiverses that we've seen and been,
Hmm.
made aware of. This comes from Kotaku. Company says no. Company says no.
Hmm.
I don't know whether it was Leslie Benzies herself, but the vagueness has been worrying to fans who are used to non-answers from NFT studios. Some Twitter users pointed out that Build a Rocket Boy was hiring for a developer on the quote blockchain team unquote. The job posting specifically called for a AAA game development experience, as well as experience with implementing blockchain contracts. According to the studio, the job search is a research position, but they haven't stated that Everywhere will never have blockchain or pay to earn elements either. So they say no, but they also say, well, not right now,
Not right now. We're
at
working on it.
least.
We're
Not right
gonna
now.
figure it
We'll
out.
see.
Yeah.
They don't know. Everywhere they said this was coming out next year in 2023, and I am like, I'm kind of skeptical for this game right now. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's a multi-world game. What is that going to look like? I think Fortnite in a lot of ways is doing a lot of things that would be
Hmm.
in this alley in regards to like creator tools and allowing people to just do a bunch of random stuff in sandboxes,
Hmm.
and giving players tools to create their own world and create their own experiences from the ground up. Ryder, what do you think?
I think it's crazy because like if they start going to like VR, like pushing that stuff, it's like then what does it come to hardware, right? Like a lot of people have accessibility to that,
Well,
or
well, this
if they
isn't.
do that, I know it's not gonna.
I
Yeah.
don't. They haven't talked about VR.
Okay, so when I think metaverse, please correct me if I'm wrong because I don't know. Metaverse is like putting on a head. Not I know that this game,
Not
it's not.
necessarily.
It's not, oh okay, so it's just kind of like a hub,
Not
right?
necessarily.
Hopping into something that's a
Yeah.
hub. Okay. Well then,
Yes.
yeah. So, well then, if it's like that, like you said with Fortnite, well then maybe it can work out. But yeah, this feels like even off the bat, feels like something that the hype will be there maybe initially, but I do see it kind of dying off because of I guess incentive to play, right? Like it seems like it's one of those a bad taste in your mouth
Yeah.
thinking about it.
I don't know. I
I don't
don't
know.
know. It reminds me, when I saw it initially, I thought this is Second World or Second Life, which was like an
Okay.
old kind of like VR chat type of game where like
Oh
you
yeah,
play
yeah.
and you just have like, you have your avatar and you just like talk
Wow.
to
Yeah.
people, and there's like a lot of like weird online like relationships and things like that. A lot of stuff like that. It was just one of those weird like
It's hard to push people to try
early
new stuff like that.
2000s. No,
No?
well, it's old though. So
Well,
I'm
yeah.
worried it's like not. I'm worried it's outdated game
Yeah.
design, um, or maybe I'm just worried there's not enough there
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
to keep players enticed. Like it's a whole new thing, and we have no idea what their actual aim is. Like, what do we want the players to actually do? It says they want the players to tell their stories in the game, but I don't know. There's already games for that. I feel
Mhm.
like.
Yeah, and they're trying to fill a market that I feel like is already successfully filled with like VR chat and other like open world kind of
Right.
create
Like
your own.
Roblox
Yeah,
and
yeah, that's a big one. Yep.
like that's the huge one.
We want it to be their world that says interesting. Yeah, tell their stories. I don't know. I think it's hard. It's hard to get people to try stuff like that. We'll see. We'll see what happens. It could
Yeah,
blow up,
I don't
right? It
know.
could be a surprise.
It could. It could be
Um,
really insane and have a huge following, like, or it could be like Fortnite, where the first few months we're playing, we're like, oh, this is fun, but like I'm not gonna play this full time,
a fan
and
base
then
stays. Yeah.
boom, after like a year or two, comes back, everyone's playing everywhere, everything all
Well,
at once.
yeah, that's what I'm with you. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
more on that soon. I want to keep up with it. I'll try my best to whenever you guys are posting on it. It's stuff, interesting stuff. Okay, well, do you
Yeah.
want to move on now to?
Yeah, we're gonna move on to Rumor Watch, baby. Grain of salt. This is our rumor
Dun, dun,
segment of the podcast
dun.
where we talk about things that could be happening, but you gotta take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
There's a rumor of a PlayStation showcase next week. Is that next week? I'm gonna say like 2 weeks. I'm gonna say 2 weeks
What
because I'm
what's the
hearing
date? 'Cause I
September
can
8th.
look. Oh, September 8th. Yeah, that'll
September
be
8th.
2 weeks.
That's
2 weeks from today, as of recording.
But stay tuned. PlayStation would put out something 4 to 5 days before the event. This is a major grain of salt. This comes from GameRant.com, among others. This leak surfaced 3 days ago on August 22nd from known insider Nick Baker. Baker also suggested that the date could be moved, which would run contrary to the usual pattern of the usual September PlayStation showcase. The rumored date from several sources is September 8th, with the Disney and Marvel games showcase the day after at the
Wow.
9th. What makes this most likely is simply the past pattern of consistently having PlayStation showcases in September. But it's um that I guess the because it would be the day before Disney and Marvel games showcase,
Mhm.
the 9th. I think that would be why Nick Baker would point to a moved date, maybe to give it some distance, some breathing room
Mhm.
between that showcase and the PlayStation showcase, especially if they show off any of their Marvel properties. Um,
Exclusivity, right? They
it
want to
they
make it.
might right, they want to make it cohesive. They don't want to show off either the same stuff that Disney might show, or maybe they want to show it before the Disney stuff, or maybe they want to show it after.
Mhm.
I don't know what that would be like. But
Yeah. I wonder
Ryder, do
what
you have any thoughts?
the hierarchy of power is. I'm quoting DC, The Rock. I wonder what the hierarchy of power is when
Oh,
it comes to Disney or PlayStation, like for a game like Spider-Man 2, right? Because there's rumors of like a Spider-Man
yeah.
2 trailer. Does Disney have to say to be like, hey, we want to save that for our own thing? Or is PlayStation like,
I don't know.
no, let's keep, you know what I mean? It's like, that's the interesting
Well,
part.
Disney definitely has more money.
Yeah, so probably them. I don't know, maybe they kind of like I said with what was it? I don't think it was Gamescom. I think it was yeah. So with Disney, the expo happening, D23, the PlayStation Showcase, if it happens, could be like an initial tease, right? Or like a CG type trailer. But then maybe you dive more
Hmm.
into like stay tuned, expo, like hop into the showcase this Friday to see more, or something like that. Maybe they
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
like a
Could be like a little 1, 2. You get introduced here, follow it up on over there
yeah.
at
They always
PlayStation
push people,
Showcase or
right?
vice versa.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be
All right.
fun. I mean, either way, it's Disney, Marvel games, and PlayStation. Oh, this could be a lot of good stuff. Maybe with
Could be a lot of good stuff.
maybe with
So everybody,
something crazy.
take that with a grain of salt.
Dun, dun, dun. Nice.
Dun,
I don't-
Next up, we got random fun stuff. Stories without a story. Ryder, is this your favorite part of the show?
yeah, there's a lot of good stuff here. I mean, it's some exciting stuff. Here we go. I guess we'll start off. Kojima podcast is happening. That's great. We put
Yep.
LMAO.
Kojima podcast app.
Yep.
We got the DualSense Edge announced at Gamescom. It's like a
Yep.
pro controller, lots of buttons, lots of paddles, a lot
Edging,
of
lots of that. Can't wait.
yes.
I'm gonna buy for sure, 100%.
Yep.
From Software has restored the online features to Dark Souls 3 on PC, and they're working on restoring the online features of the PC versions of both Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 2. Ooh.
Love to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Resident Evil Village for PlayStation VR 2 will be playable at Tokyo Game Show 2022 at the Capcom booth.
Oh, that'll be horrifying.
It's gonna be really cool.
Literally terrifying. Really cool. PlayStation's rumored to get a tournament feature on the PS5. You sent this. I mean, this looks exciting if it does, because the possibilities with different games. Like, I wonder what the access is. Right? Is it just exclusive games, or is it to everything? You just kind of make a setting. That'd be fun though.
Right. I want to go back to the PlayStation VR 2 real quick, just because we should be seeing some impressions of PlayStation VR 2 right around that same time, because it's first kind of widely consumer or journalists getting their hands on the hardware.
Oh yeah, wow, that'd be fun. Ooh.
And lastly, A Space for the Unbound is delayed until further notice.
Wow.
I don't remember what that game was, but if you remember, it's delayed.
Yeah. Well, well. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh well.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Fun episode. Thanks for having me on, James. Appreciate it.
Of course.
Fun time.
Yeah. Anytime. Love having you on, Ryder. Guys, you can watch the whole podcast on video if you want to see our faces for a whole 40 minutes, 50 minutes, hour. What do we got, Ryder?
Wait, you want me to close out? You can
What's our timestamp?
Oh, we're at
no. What's our timestamp?
All right, we're at 46 minutes. Not too bad.
46 minutes, nice and tight.
Yeah, nice and tight.
You want to see our faces for the whole 46 minutes? You can become a member for how much a month, Ryder?
$2 a month.
$2.
$2
a month. But this has been a great show. A lot of stuff, real dense, real tightly packed. A lot of business. We're a bunch of businessmen out here. I got a new haircut, and I'm a businessman.
New York Stock Exchange.
I'm in New York. We move fast in the city, baby.
PlayStation stonks. No, I'm just kidding.
PlayStation stonks. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye, everyone.